on DrivingMaul, your best place rugby predictions and opinion. And tonight we will be talking about all the action, including the upsets and also the expected results. So, and I say we, the reason I say we is that joining me is Mr. Stephen Harris. How are you doing, sir?
Very good, thank you, Paul. Once again, a privilege and a pleasure to be on the TDN talking about New Zealand's great game, Super Rugby, or maybe it isn't New Zealand's great game, after listening to a lot of our supporters in recent times. And as you can see tonight, I'm donning the alternate training jersey of the Blues. Fortunately, I've been able to lose a little bit of weight in the last few weeks to squeeze into this medium-sized jersey. So if you hear me breathing hard, it's me just trying to squeeze in or snug in on this jersey.
Well, I'm in my Waikato jersey, and the reason for that is that today I had a chat with Mike Rogers, who is the Bay of Plenty CEO, and hence I was talking Mitre 10 Cup Rugby. He did say I was wearing the wrong jersey, and I pointed out that I couldn't actually buy a Bay of Plenty jersey at the final because they didn't have a merch store. He went, "Yep, oops, sorry, you ran out of kit." So he said he might be able to sort me out a jersey, so we'll see. But on Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. my interview with him will come out, and it's all about the high performance section they have there, and also their work they're doing with the China Lions in the Global Rapid Rugby. So if you want to have a look at that, drivingmaul.com, 9 a.m. Wednesday morning. But that's all in the future. We're supposed to talk about the past here. We kicked off on Friday night with Highlanders versus the Sharks, finished 20-42. One of the things that Steve, our friend Cornflake down in Invercargill, keeps telling us is, hey, look, we're written off, we're a bunch of nobodies, but hey, we get together and we perform. But we didn't see that on Friday night, did we?
No, we didn't. Listen, the game was good as gone at half-time, and an 8-minute burst from the Sharks pretty much put it beyond the grasp of the Highlanders. But I think there was just more to this game than about the scoreline. Probably at the end of the day, Paul, and you'll get to the second half down the track, it probably flattered this Highlanders at the end of the day, the scoreline.
Yeah, this was this Highlanders team has gone through a lot of changes in the off season, and it shows basically is that they've lost players such as your Fadders, Buckman. Obviously Ben Smith, Naholo. Then in the forwards, players like Hemapo, Whitelock. I've gone blank as well. The All Blacks 6 who plays for Tasman. Anyway, they've lost a lot of experience. A lot of players who have been there for a long time that hold that team together, that provide the cohesion that other new players can just fit around. And it's just taking a long time. I also really question the Hunt and Joshuani 10-12 combination, especially up against a South African side with a crash ball 12. Playing someone like Josh at 12 for me just seems a waste of his talents.
Yeah, probably Andre Esterhuizen probably weighs the same weight of those two players put together, Paul, and pretty simple game plan, very very direct from the big second five, and that capacity they were able to get their loose forwards involved, and at the end of the day, the Highlanders pack pretty much systematically got dismantled. To me, the only real player who probably stood out and was probably the Highlanders player of the day was Marino Michiali too, who I thought was pretty outstanding in a beaten pack. But to be honest, most of that game I thought they got well and truly manhandled.
Yeah, I mean, the first 20 minutes was stop and start, and then you say it all fell apart for them just before half time with those 3 tries back to back. But again, they weren't tries that involved a lot of build-up work, but we're seeing that this South African side is now really good at counter-attacking. If you turn it over the wrong part of the pitch, they'll try things such as cheeky box kicks by cheeky crossfield kicks by the scrum half, when he should be getting nailed if he's taking those sort of things. We had Mapimpi going in after Brianna Uku got stripped of the ball. But yeah, it's that turnover play that we're seeing from South Africa, this South African side this season, that's been impressive.
Oh, very much so. And that back three of Mapimpi, Tambewe and Fussy, who's a new player to us on the horizon. Well, he won't be new for too much longer. He just looks an absolute athlete, and he looks like he could be the next big thing in rugby. They often say these really good athletes, if you think back to a Christian Cullen, or the very good runners in the game, look very relaxed, and they look like they're doing it easy, almost running in three-quarter pace. But the problem is, Paul, the real fast guys were struggling to actually catch them. And like you say, they took all the points on offer, and it probably even more demonstrated by Kerwin Bosch, who's a very tidy goal kicker at first five, who just pretty much knocked over everything that was on offer as well. And it's just that scoreboard pressure. The more that lead went up at times in multiples of 7 when tries were scored, I think more pressure that went on to Otago, where they were just trying everything and anything. Thought they might have, I'm not too sure how you feel, thought they might have overdone the kicking a wee bit.
Yes, I mean, under the roof, I mean, it stopped more in the second half, but we were running at a kick a minute for a while, for a long time there. We got to end up with nearly 60 kicks, 59 kicks in total. But that slackened off in the second half when the Highlanders were chasing it and realising they had to keep it in hand. They had all the possession, had all the territory, but 20 turnovers, and then losing 4 of their 20 lineouts. They had 20 lineouts. That shows you how often the Sharks were kicking to exit because they were getting pinned in their own half, or pinned in their own 20. But they were just turning it over. The kick would go out. And then Sharks also conceded 15 penalties, and this was not a game Sharks should have been in when you look at those. When you look at the territory and the stats, but 85% tackling compared to only 77 by the Highlanders, and those 20 turnovers by the Highlanders. So it doesn't matter how much pressure you apply. If you don't break the gain line and you keep turning over the ball, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose more games than you win.
And Paul, unfortunately, for the Highlanders, when they did get opportunities by way of penalty, able to sort of kick deep into Sharks territory, the line-out once again went awry.
Yep.
Coltman, we know what he can do around the paddock, but there's always been question marks over his line-out throwing ability, and unfortunately, he just didn't pick up his 2 targets on the night.
Very true. We followed that one up by a game over in Canberra, Brumbies versus Rebels. This one finished 39-26. But again, another one where there was only ever going to be one winner all night. The Brumbies got 2 tries in the first 15 minutes and then basically coasted home from there. Brumbies, the Rebels sort of came back into it a little bit in the second half, but they just kept on making mistakes and allowing the Brumbies to pull away. This Rebels team, from a team that a couple of years ago sort of opened the season with a win in Christchurch, and you thought, hey, we're actually starting to build things. They've really fallen apart.
They have, Paul. You kind of look at some of the personnel they have in the pack. There's in this playing 15, several Wallabies, current Australian fullback, and Haylett Petty Korobeti, who's a current Wallaby winger. So, and also Reece Hodge in the midfield, and both Meeks and Tumua all played in the yellow jersey. So really, really disappointing. Like the previous game, this was another game that was pretty much over by half time, and I always felt with the Brumbies, when they didn't have to put a lot of phases together to actually score. And we saw a couple of nice little things that they did around the line-out, a couple of little moves around the front of the line-out, and there's our man Fainga again, who we're probably picking as one of the top try scorers. Will probably be close to it again. So they looked a step ahead of the Rebels all the time, where the Rebels at times they'd put a whole lot of phases together only to blow it right at the end by not getting cleaners there quick enough, or eventually making a mistake.
Yep, and again, another team that gave up a whole bunch of turnovers, 13 turnovers by them. A more solid set piece and things, but yeah, they're just too many errors by that Rebels team. And backing up with that loss over the Sunwolves, I'm really, you've got to think they're going to be they can't wait for a bye week. They need a bye week quick so that they can actually get things sorted, because they're a mess. The Brumbies look, they're a side that grit out wins, aren't they, so far? Now, admittedly, they've played the Reds and the Rebels, not the strongest teams around, but hey, they've got those 2 wins. They've done what they need to do. Sitting top of the Australia Conference, they're looking like at least the most competent side in Australia.
Yeah, Paul. They look like they're getting a nice combination going together of Powell and Lole Seal as well. I mean, so first 5 been a bit of an area of concern for the Brumbies in recent years, and you probably thought even when I'm just trying to think of the boy who's played there, came back from cancer as well.
Who's gone overseas.
He's gone else. You wondered if they were going to struggle in that area, but really interesting. Other little thing as well. Good to see Solomon Akata, former Warrior, dotting down as well. So he could be an interesting sort of acquisition for this Brumbies outfit.
Yeah, and you had players like Banks as well in that back. They've got pace, and they're dangerous at the backs as well. As you say, they've got a good mixture of some grit and some face. And boy, they like to defend. We're seeing the sides that like to defend, or that can defend, are picking up the wins this year. Certainly, we followed that one up on Saturday night with the game of the round. I mean, we picked this one as the game of the round heading into it, but boy, Chiefs versus Crusaders. For the second week running, the Chiefs have been down at half time and have managed to pull it out. I mean, they are showing some ticker, as you would say.
Yeah, Paul, it was a game that, like I say, pre-game or before the game kicked off, I basically tweeted out on @Stephen73_H that the Chiefs would actually win this by 12 points or more, but I didn't think it would sort of play out like this way to the point that had to actually come back and beat the Crusaders, because the Crusaders are normally one of those teams, if they get their noses in front and they can basically smell a little bit of blood, they'll pretty much put you away. But man, credit to this Chiefs team, or the fortitude that they've got. We all know they haven't got the biggest middle row in the world, and line out throwing is a bit of a concern, but that's what makes it even more impressive, that their line out was dysfunctional, but they were still able to be niggly around the breakdown area especially, and they put enough pressure on the Crusaders, and it was the Crusaders that really cracked in the last 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, and the Crusaders line out didn't cover itself in glory either. Let's be honest; they also struggle at times. You've got to wonder what one All Black cap Brett Cameron has done, because even with Richmond Mo'unga out there, with Havili at 10, in the first half, Havili looked like to the manner born, looked brilliant, and then in the second half, lost the script somewhat. So you got to say, why aren't they playing? Why aren't they selecting their supposedly second best fly half in that position and putting a utility guy in there?
It is crazy, because I think Havili offers a lot from that 15 jersey. No offense to Will Jordan, he's a promising young guy, but we've finally seen Will Jordan under a little bit of pressure, and we see a couple of flaws in his game. Defensively, there was also the opportunity to put, was it either Bridge or Reese away for a try, and to be honest, the pass looked like something I'd throw to my grandson out in the backyard. Seriously, it was not a great pass. And those are the little things that you want from players of that quality. So I think they, to me, they missed the boat a little bit there.
Yeah, looking at the line out, 5 lost line outs by the Chiefs. Yeah, that's something they do need to fix. 17 turnovers by the Crusaders, not something you'd normally associate with them, but up against, this Chiefs pack are playing Boshier, Karpik and Kane as their starting loosies. All 3 of them are 7s at the end of the day, so playing 3 7s. This is taking the Hooper Pocock thing to the next level. It's so far it's paying dividends. Obviously helped out by some wayward kicking from Havili at posts, but yeah, basically, yeah, the whole, it wasn't just him. The whole team kind of lost it a bit. If you're looking for tries, though, have a look at the one that Webber puts away, because he takes it to the line, gets his hands free, passes it through, and boy, does Wainui he goes and scores. Lovely skills from the little guy in traffic there.
Yeah, there's a couple of guys 2 weeks in a row already putting their hand up. Listen, you spoke about that loose forward trio, but obviously the man that impressed the most, Lachlan Brochere, again putting his hand up, and he seemed to be right in the thick of those many turnovers, or those Crusaders turnovers, and just niggly as ever. Just so good on the ball. Thought he was impressive. And once again, Aaron Cruden. Well, I've got a question for you, Paul. Is he the best game manager that's running around in a 10 jersey in New Zealand at this minute?
Yeah, probably. Because you're looking at everyone's trying to be this breaking, fast, attacking player like Barrett and Mwanga. Hunter's a bit of a game manager. Tries to be, but yeah, he has not got the experience or the calmness that Cruden's got. And Perifetto, well, yeah, look, he can't hit the side of a barn at the moment with his kicking, which you tend, if you tend to be your designated kicker, you've got to make those kicks. So yeah, you're right. Cruden's the calm head amongst a lot of flash and razzle dazzle out there.
And those two, and having those two quality halfbacks as well. I mean, to say to Toiroa Tahuarangi, this year, I think there looks to be a little bit more consistency in his game, and he's sort of going back to the form that he was first noticed by All Black selectors. It's good to see, but man, when you can have somebody like Webber come off the bench, wow, it's not bad at all. And on another little footnote, wasn't it great to see Damien McKenzie back on a rugby field after a year? Certainly not his best. I know a friend sent me a message, I didn't think he was that good. I'm thinking to myself, I'd hate to see what you're like after a year out of rugby as well. Seriously, you could just see those touches. The full acceleration hasn't come back, but God, he's dangerous. He's probably the most dangerous broken field runner from the back in New Zealand.
Oh yeah, he's probably one of the most dangerous backs in the world. Let's be honest. I mean, him and Colby are two very, very dangerous small guys, which is fantastic. We followed that up with the Waratahs versus the against the Blues. Is this the Blues' year? And they got their win over.
Stop it!
Oh dear! But it was interesting to see the Blues played with much more width this weekend than last weekend, and it paid dividends with tries. It was 7-8 at half time, so the Blues really shouldn't have allowed the Tars to be that close at that point. But as I say, two quick tries by the Blues soon after half time when they spun the ball wide, and it was all over. The Blues have got, but again, Perifetto couldn't hit the side of a barn. There's only so long that you can afford to leave those kind of points out in the park. It hurt them on week one. They got away with it in week two, though.
Yeah. It's gonna bite them at some stage against somebody who's going to stay in the fight. Unfortunately for the Waratahs, the conditions there were a little bit slippery, and once again you've got to wonder why it was played in Newcastle, which is a bit of a rugby league stronghold. But from what I'm understanding, because Super Rugby has started so early, there's a lot of grounds around Sydney that
there's also politics involved. So there's a big political thing last year was about rebuilding the stadium that they're in, that they normally play in Sydney, and the Bulldozers moved in and bulldozed it down. So hence they don't have a home place. So they're playing in 6 different venues for their 8 home games this year. So it's hardly like they're having a home. So they're being forced to take it around the country, around New South Wales, which is why you're going to see them in lots of different venues this year.
Yeah, no, not a great performance from the Waratahs. From their point of view, they looked pretty much there was the individuals trying to do things, but boy, they were pretty much error ridden in that first half. I don't know if the Blues were much better. They probably just made less mistakes, Paul, more than anything else. But even as somebody who follows the Blues, you were never quite confident. Even more so when the Waratahs tightened it up at half time, and it was only 1 point, but. A couple of quick tries to Marchant and Talia, who mate, he's making every postal winner out on the wing. The North Harbour man. We saw how good he was during Mitre 10 Cup in 2019, and he's carrying this form through to Super Rugby. But listen, I got to give a bit of credit to the Type 5. One real plus for this Blues outfit has been their scrum in the first two games. It's been more than a match for previously the Chiefs and again the Waratahs on the weekend. So they've definitely got something to build on. Just got to get a little bit more. How can I say? Just cut out the infractions. There are times they give away really needless penalties and piggyback a team that they've got under pump back into the game.
Yeah, I think this year actually I can see what the Blues are trying to do on attack for the first time, which is nice. So you can actually see some structure. You can see what they're trying to do. It doesn't always come off. All right, and sometimes it might not be the right thing to do, but you can see what they're trying to do, which is good. Mm-hmm. The Tars on the other side, you're just like, why do you make that choice? And today, not yesterday, at the weekend, the captain decided that to show us that it's not just Curtly Beale who can take bad decisions. Penalty straight in front of the sticks, and he chooses to go for a scrum. And the Blues just destroy the Tars scrum. They've had the upper hand all night. And he turns down and either an easy three or a kicks the corner or a tap and go. Anything but a scrum, which was always going to see them backpedaling at a rate of knots. I mean,
it's the one,
seriously.
Paul, I was going to say, it's the one time in his life Phil Kearns was actually making sense. Why would you take a scrum when your scrum's under the pump? Even if they'd basically just kept it, or like you say, at the time, just take the points on offer and build some pressure via the scoreboard. So
leadership is a massive problem for that for that Tars side. We then went over to South Africa, and boy, the Lions got themselves a win this game. But seriously, they knocked it on. Now, okay, look, you can have scrums for other reasons. I understand. I've only seen highlights of this game, but you look at the stats and go, right, how did they allow the Reds to have 12 scrums? I mean, seriously, that's just nuts hands. And 12, they gave up 12 scrums. They had 19 turnovers, and the Lions still somehow managed to win this game, which just tells you how poor the Reds are.
Yeah. Not to mention just their discipline let them down at the very wrong time. I mean, it's like Taniela Tupou getting a yellow right on half time, and then straight after half time, 5 minutes in the second half, Nasser gets 5 minutes. So you're playing, you're down to playing with 13 men. Unfortunately, it sort of didn't cost them during that time. If anything, they actually lifted and ended up getting a McDermott scores a try. Hegarty converts, and with 17 minutes to go, they're leading by 20. What was it, 20 to 18 or something like that? So the opportunity, or 20 to 17, beg your pardon. So the opportunity's on for the win. The Reds might look back at this, and even though the Lions won it, they might think, gee, that was an opportunity to win this game.
Well, maybe, but I mean, the Lions, 63% possession, 70% territory. I mean, they're in the right part of the pitch the whole time of the game. You can tell that they had 19 lineouts. Clearly, the Reds were just basically turning over the ball and just kicking it out. Another example of this. And you're like, geez, those 19 turnovers. If they didn't turn the ball over, the Lions should have won this one by a country mile. But hey, these are two teams that are, if you're doing your Super Brew picks, if they're playing anyone even remotely competent, sorry, but these guys are going to lose.
Yeah.
It's tough. We went on from that to then another game where, geez, They just didn't want to hold on to the ball. The Stormers this time. Right? The Stormers are a team that so far haven't given up at a point all season. They've won this game 13-0. 2 games, 0 points given up. They didn't even give Mornay Stern a kick at goal. And that's how disciplined they were at the breakdown and things. But, I mean, hands like shovels. 13 scrums of the put-ins that the Bulls had. Again, guys, just hold on to that ball, please.
Yeah, it's a crazy old game. I must admit, it's one that I didn't see. I think I might have dodged the bullet there, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Paul at 13-0 and only 5 points, only 1 unconverted try in the second half. Certainly, you wouldn't have got you would have been felt very ripped off entertainment value wise if you basically either stayed up to watch that game or indeed if you attended it.
And it doesn't help that Williams' 20% kicking success. I mean, the Stormers again, and it's another game where the Stormers should have just wiped the board with the Bulls. But yeah, turnovers. The Bulls also gave up 18 turnovers. So this was a error-strewn game. I like seeing Lades step into that first receiver and mix it up with Williamson and take some of the pressure off him as he's a young guy coming through. The defence, and I say the discipline of this Stormers side is very good. Sure, they gave up 11 penalties, but none of them in their own half, none of them that would give up points. It's going to be interesting to see the first time they actually get points against the Stormers, because I say that their defence has been very, very good. So in other words, I feel like the Stormers, their defence was very good. Defence is winning games this season, and it's going to be interesting to see how that continues, because this Africa Conference is looking really competitive now.
Yeah, very, very much so. I mean, the Stormers, I suppose at the end of the day, they'll be saying, listen, we picked up the win, but in terms of what we've seen out of that conference, I think the Sharks look the impressive of that group, and we'll get to the Hagawares shortly and discuss their game, Paul. But unfortunately for the Lions and the Bulls, they kind of look like they're also ends already.
Yeah, and they can meet each other for a braai and commiserate, because hey, they live next door to each other. But the Lions and the Bulls, I'm sorry, folks, it's rebuilding years for them. Luckily for the Bulls, they've got a bye week, so actually they can sit down and try and figure out what's going wrong and try and fix things, because they're coming off the back of 2 losses. But getting Mornay Stain in, it's balancing between having experience and turning the clock back 20 years in your style of play.
Yeah. I hear where you're coming from.
So yes, not very, as you can say, I'm not very positive around the Bulls at the moment. But hey, the Stormers are one of those 4 teams, along with the Chiefs, the Crusaders, and the Hagawares, that we said pre-season could really be at the pointy end. The Sharks, with their performance against the Highlanders, have stepped up and said, hey, we're part of that conversation too. So this Stormers side, I say they've not conceded a point yet. They may have errors, they may have problems in their game, but they've got a really fantastic platform to build off for the rest of the season. Are we seeing the Africa Conference become more competitive than the New Zealand Conference? Well, between 3 of the teams, yes, and then you've got 2 teams that are really poor. So it's kind of
Yeah, I'm funny feeling with that New Zealand Conference, isn't it? And it wasn't a great start for either the Hurricanes or the Highlanders. At least, and we'll get to the Hurricanes shortly. You'll see improvement, and I'm pretty sure even a team like the Highlanders, even though they've lost a lot of players from last year, they've still got a lot of quality. They're still going to play an exciting brand of code, especially with Tony Brown. Any team that Tony Brown is involved in is going to play some good footy, or footy worth getting up to watch anyway.
Sure. I mean, we know. Look, the Chiefs have definitely shown they're contenders. The Crusaders, we know they are. The Hurricanes, fine. They had a bad game against the Stormers. We've seen them have bad games against the Brumbies and the Bulls in opening rounds and come back and go as far as winning the competition. So look, do not count the Hurricanes off yet. As you say, getting onto the game, the Hagawares 23-26. Boy, this was. It didn't. I mean, it wasn't until the 77th minute they got over the line. But this was yeah, two sides throwing punches at each other, wasn't it? Well, not literally, but I mean, kind of on the scoreboard.
Yeah, very much so. And boy, you talk about key moments in the game. I'm just trying to remember who made that tackle in the corner on the Argentinian player when we thought for all money.
Well, that clearly that had to be the player that everyone hates and thinks is useless, Geordie Barrett.
Wow, how good was that? Yeah, exactly. How good was that defensive play, and how key was that? Because watching through the naked eye, we thought, oh, it's a try. Listen, what's Ruster looking at? But I'll tell you what, he obviously knew what he was looking at because he cut the line, and that was just such a huge moment in that game. I thought the Jaguares had opportunities to take this game away from the Hurricanes, but it's that old adage: if you stay in the fight, Paul, anything's happened. And the pressure always goes on the home side towards the end of the game. That's what I've noticed in this great game of rugby. If you're playing a team at their home ground and you can take them deep into a game, the pressure's always on the home side. And as it panned out, it was good for the Hurricanes. Thought they got some good value off their bench.
Well. You talk about staying in the fight. They didn't score their first try until the 70th minute, right? It was just penalties up until then by Geordie and a missed drop goal, which was just keeping them in it. And we know how dangerous that Jaguares backline and attack can be. They stayed in the fight. Admittedly, some of that came down to literally inches, as we saw with that Geordie tackle, just dragged the guy's toe onto the whitewash, and that was the difference between basically winning and losing this game in the end. The Hurricanes, like quite a few other teams this season, we talked about, had line-out issues, lost 4 out of their 12 line-outs. And we saw at times the Jaguares put up 2 people competing to try and catch the ball, which you don't normally see. I mean, teams sometimes don't even put up 1 person to try and catch. They actually try to put up 2. They really did make that it really did make life difficult for the Hurricanes at line-out. And it's something that the Jaguares have been very good at for a number of years. So we shouldn't be too surprised by that. But 2 very good sides. It took a long time for the Hurricanes to be able to break down the Jaguares, but they made it in the end.
Oh, this will put a smile back on their supporters' faces, because it was looking pretty glum after last week. And even I was thinking with something like what was it? They were 23-12 down with 15 minutes to go. I was thinking to myself, my God, you could see the unthinkable. A Hurricanes team not scoring a try in 160 minutes of rugby, but there were signs that we saw when TJ Perenara was held up, and that was a nice bit of honesty, I've got to say, as well, with the official, just telling the official, no, I didn't get the answer. Great to see, but you could just see little things unfolding, Paul, little offloads. And
the Hurricanes backed up and soon afterwards scored off that. So yeah, they even though they got held up there, they did score in that kind of passage of play, didn't they? Soon afterwards.
And Paul, I guess it would be remiss of us not to mention that penalty attempt. Wow.
Let's rewind it. Not attempt. He made it.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. Just absolutely crazy. It looked like he could have taken it back to the 22 and kicked it from there. It basically went over the dead ball line. It just
he went over there, and he was kicking it from. I mean, we say, he was taking it from his own half. No, he was taking it from beyond the 10-meter line. It was a 63-meter kick, and he nailed it. Geordie, as Ryan from the Tribe Sports app tweeted, Geordie does have some uses then. Which is a tad harsh, but defensively again, both these sides were up for it, and basically just like last week, previous weekend, when Jaguares started to fall off tackles around about the 60-odd minute. Here it happened a bit earlier, and they just weren't as dominant in those hits. In the first half, you just couldn't see the Hurricanes getting over the gain line, but in the second half they started to do that and start to get some profit from it. The Jaguares issue is going to be fitness during the games, as we've noticed already. Both sides made 128 tackles, which is a chunk, and both were in the 80%. So this was a fiercely fought game.
Paul, one thing that the Hurricanes did really, really well in those sort of closing minutes, last 10, 15 minutes, is popping balls into space, not popping balls to runners to run into contact, but throwing passes at space, even to the point where there was the TMO intervened on the winning try because they wanted to look at a pass. But if you look at that if you look at that pass and how it was basically thrown, it was pretty much a line ball. There was a bit of deception. If that pass goes any earlier, I don't think the player, I think it was Fafita, I think it was, he doesn't hit that gap. And of course, he was able to offload. In fact, all up, I think that last play was around about 70, that winning try, 77 seconds or so. It basically took the piece together. So it just goes to show if you can focus for long enough periods, or to take a line out of Warren Gatlin's book, if you hold the ball for long enough periods, even deep into the game, anything can happen.
Yeah, we've seen some play. I mean, both the tries end up, I think, with Lamapi making passing to players and making breaks and getting really involved centrally, and that's why I love to see him. When I see him out wide, I'm not. I think he's wasted out there. I think he can do so much more. He's very good out there. Don't get me wrong. And he should do very much more in close. But we saw him and also Cruden do this, where they pass it to somebody, run forward, and be there for the offload back again. And they've got that sort of that close linking play. Clearly, I wouldn't be surprised if there's something's come down on high about that, because we've seen similar plays from a couple of the New Zealand teams like that. A bit like defensively, what we're seeing from the Sharks. I mean, the Sharks, if you took an aerial view of the Sharks and an aerial view of the Springboks, and you plotted where the players are standing on defence, it's exactly the same. So you can see that centralised Razzies talking to and getting the teams to getting the provinces to work together in South Africa. We know it happens over here, and I think that maybe there is some visits to training sessions by the All Blacks and a few tricks. Said, hey, try working on these and see if they work, please.
Paul, if the form of Aaron Cruden continues, what chance does he come back into an All Black jersey frame? Because his game management, really and truthfully, is very, very good. It's high quality.
It is very good, and I can see someone like him on the bench to come and calm things down and close out games would be really, really useful. I guess the question is, how long is he sticking around for? If he's off to Japan next year, then look, we need to develop the other players. If he's here for this World Cup cycle, then he's got to be part of the conversation.
You know what? One thing I actually really do like about Cruden, you know, at a time a lot of the supporters in New Zealand, he get a bit angsty about drop kicks. He doesn't mind using the drop kick, you know, to basically push open a lead or just accumulate points, and he does it well. And if we think back to the 2011 Rugby World Cup, New Zealand versus Australia, slotted over an important drop kick at an important time, Paul.
Yeah, but when does Cruden obviously dropped over a drop goal against the Blues in the opening round? I thought I heard the commentators say that was the first ever Super Rugby drop goal he's made.
Well, you could be right. Well, I think the fact that he's not shy to take it, you know.
Yeah, no, he's not shy to take it there. But I think basically what we're saying is that I think that there might be a bit of kind of wishful thinking that he does it on a regular basis. Now, maybe he will do. That'd be great if he does. I mean, Geordie Barrett had a go as well this weekend. So maybe again, that's another thing that's been passed down. So guys, you need to have a few cracks at drop goals, please. Obviously, when it's right in the game. But these might be. I think we're seeing maybe some instructions from, or not instructions, but requests from Ian Foster coming down the line.
Paul, I think it's an undervalued thing, because even if you miss the drop kick, you stay on attack, and there's a good chance you're going to get the ball back from the kickoff. So, you know, to me, it's not it's not always a low percentage play, but it's one of about accumulating points and putting that scoreboard pressure on, which is pretty much what international rugby is all about.
Yeah, just keep. I remember reading Johnny Wilkinson's book, and he just talks about just keep that scoreboard ticking over, and let the scoreboard do all the pressure. Let the scoreboard do all the work, not you. There's been a whole bunch of chat in the comments around Geordie Barrett. Now, and I think I think most people, when they're talking about Geordie Barrett, they're not talking about his off-field persona. I don't think I've never heard people say sort of bad things about him as a person. Sure, he wandered into someone's flat and sat down and had a KFC, but hey, all he did was want. If you're not going to lock your door in your house, what do you expect? Look, that was just an honest mistake, no big deal. And as far as off-field and away from the game, I don't think he's had any problems. I think the problem people have with him is that he is prone to the odd mistake on the pitch, and that's where the kind of haters, or whatever you want to call it, or the people who don't rate Geordie are talking about it. It's not talking about his off-field stuff and arrogance and that kind of thing. So I don't think so. And it was interesting. I put a tweet out saying, "How is Havili not the utility back for the All Blacks?" And I think we saw why in that second half. Is that when he's good, he's very, very good, and when he's bad, he's awful. Kind of thing. He can just drop off. Whereas I think Geordie does not have the heights of Havili at the moment, but he also does not have the lows. Yes, he makes the odd mistake, but it's a mistake rather than the series of them, I think. Or am I talking absolute rubbish?
No, listen, we know one thing that we know Geordie Barrett has got is skill. He's a very, very skillful guy. I just think the way he started his career, I think he tried to run before he could actually walk. He goes, I'll do all the flashy things before I actually focus on doing the basics. The really good players that are of high skill will do all their basics right, and that's what they get. That's what pretty much people look at. Go, man, this guy's mistake free, and then he does something. Then they'll do something absolutely outrageous, a little bit like what he did on the weekend. I'm still marveling at. I don't often marvel about penalty goals, but from that sort of distance out, that's pretty special. I mean, to say that the only other kick I can probably think about is I think Paul Thorburn kicking a penalty for Wales at the old Cardiff Arms Park with a leather ball.
I was going to say, but Stephen, most people in the live chat weren't alive when that happened. And I still remember, was it 2 seasons ago, where he's tackling a guy over their try line, he strips the ball and scores a try. And you're like, how did he just do that? He tackled the guy, stripped it, and scored the try all in one motion as they were falling over and rolling out the end zone. It's like, wow, that is just, Now he has moments of skill. Yeah, perhaps it's a matter of just judgment as to when and where to use it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the same sort of criticism was levelled at Carlos Spencer. Absolute show pony, does all these show pony tricks, but we also want you to do your basics as well. We like the player that does all his basics right and does the team thing.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. There is an arrogant player. Yeah. Anyone who runs out to the corner flag and puts the ball down to the corner is an arrogant player.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
It was beautiful theatre. It was fantastic. It was all very good, but still arrogant. What was I going to say? I'll be back tomorrow night with Ashwin, where we're going to have the #rugby chat, and we're going to be talking about South Africa moving to the Six Nations. We're going to be talking about refereeing consistency. We'll talk about Finn Russell and Gregor Townsend. Basically, what we're going to talk about is lots of stuff around rugby, but none of it about the actual games. So do join us for that. So hit subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of that stuff. Also, hang on, let me just give you. There you go, so Stephen. It's all you. There he goes. He's running up. Boom! He kicks it. This is for our podcasters, and over it just drops. Whereas Geordie's did go over the dead ball line, as you said. So
So that's from 60 odd meters out. You'll probably get sued for copyrights now, Paul. So
that's it. Yeah, takedown notices are happening as we speak. What was I going to say? So yes, subscribe, hit the bell down below so you don't miss that. Also, Thursday evening, myself and Shane will be back on. We'll preview all the Super Rugby games next weekend. And finally, head over to DrivingMaul.com where you can support the channel. My Super Rugby predictions will be coming out in 3 hours. So they'll be out soon for supporters of the channel. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. I mean, come on, guys, that's a bargain. And I might even be able to get to eat sometime. That'd be really nice. So, thank you very much, Stephen, for joining me this evening. And everyone, you can see his Twitter handle. It's just straight below his face, just like mine is as well. It's on screen. So even though it's convoluted, you can note it down and get in touch with him on there. Francois Stern did a big one, 70 maybe, says Christopher. Yes, but that was at altitude. That's a big difference doing it at altitude and doing it at sea level. So yes. Theolmus, Six Nations and not Georgia, WTF. Yep, that'll all be the part of the discussion tomorrow night. So join us from 8 p.m. tomorrow night talking about that. And yes, the Driving Maul support channel, help me eat. I've done all this. I've just gone over and over and over. So thank you guys, everyone, and see you all later. Bye.
Bye.